Hello, and welcome back to Authentically Shawna. I'm your host, Dr. Shawna Burke. This is a special mini series that I'm doing with my mom. We are currently in Germany in December, and we wanted to share a little bit about our experience in case anybody else wanted to make a journey to see Christmas markets in Germany. So, this is my mom. I'm just going to call her mom.
Hi, Shawna. I'll call you Shawna.
Okay, good. And we wanted to tell you what inspired this trip. So I have lived in Europe in different phases of my life. And so I'm never upset about coming to Europe. And my mom loves the Hallmark Channel. And so if you've been watching the Hallmark movies for the past couple of years, they've had some movies that have taken place in Germany. Specifically, last year there was one in Heidelberg, and we will be going to Heidelberg, Germany in a couple of days. And so that's sort of running in the background of our minds. We love watching Christmas movies, especially my mom. We also live near a theme park called Knott's Berry Farm, and they have their own, it's definitely not the same as being here, but they have their own version of like a little Christmas market that they do every year around November, December. And so we've gone to that for a lot of years. Most of my childhood, we went with my grandmother and great grandmother, something that we really enjoyed. And I was following a couple people on Instagram who are expats those are people who were born in America but live abroad, especially I was watching a couple of people who live in Spain because I lived in Spain, and I just love watching the funny culture references that they do because it's so spot on and so hysterical. When you live in a foreign country, you realize how hysterical your culture is, and you realize how hysterical other people's cultures are. And so one of these people, her name is Morgan, she had done a sponsored trip. She's a travel blogger. She had done a sponsored trip throughout Europe on a train last year to go visit Christmas markets. And she had mentioned a little blip like, hey, so enjoyed Christmas markets. A friend of mine, Helene, her Instagram handle is at Helene in between. I'll put it in the show notes. Her and her husband are organizing a Christmas market cruise. And so I looked at my mom and said, we need to do this. So we've known that we were going to come on this trip since last March. We booked this trip in March. So it's now December 2nd. So we've known for a very long time that we wanted to come on this trip. We've had this trip planned for a long time. So it's finally here, and we're so excited to be here. So we wanted to tell you a little bit about the first couple of days that we've had. So we arrived, so we live near Los Angeles. So we flew from Los Angeles direct to Frankfurt and arrived at around 11 a.m. on Saturday morning. And one of the best ways to get around Europe is by train. So I highly recommend if you're flying into a big city in Germany, I don't know about other countries, but if you're flying into a big city and you need to get to a smaller town, so we flew to Frankfurt and we started our trip in Cologne, Germany. It's about an hour away by train. Airlines offer we'll say like a discounted train ticket. So you buy the ticket through the airline because there's delays. For example, we left an hour later than we were expecting because our baggage took an hour to get to us. Thank goodness we had baggage. It was an hour late. No big deal. So this ticket is good for all day. So normally in Germany, you have to buy a train ticket. It's one time. If you miss your time, your ticket is null and void. When you buy it with an airplane, you have some flexibility, which was great. So we arrived in Cologne by train. We dropped our things off, and then we headed straight for the Lindt Chocolate Museum. Now, if you're a chocolate connoisseur, we highly recommend checking out the museum, even if you don't do the museum portion, just to come and have their hot chocolate. They have amazing hot chocolate. They have a cafe. So we had their hot chocolate. That was our dinner, actually. And they also have an amazing chocolate shop. So if you want to have chocolate that you've never heard of, never seen before, I mean, they have quite the collection of chocolate of things that I've never seen or heard of.
They have chocolate from all over the world. They have it from South America. They had it from different countries in Europe. But I think our highlight was making our own chocolate bars. So you can go up to the top floor and they have chocolate makers there. And you have a little card that you fill out with different ingredients that you want to put inside. And you can choose if you want a white chocolate, milk chocolate, or dark chocolate. And then you can check off little boxes of 4 different things that you want for a candy bar, and you turn it into the cashier and pay them in advance. And then you can watch your candy bars, because we ordered 4 of them for different people for our trips. And everyone's candy bar looks different. Everyone will have their own special flavor. And then we waited the hour for it to be ready for us downstairs. And in the meantime, we went back and we looked at all of the different eras of chocolate and where they come from. And we got to sample some chocolate in the meantime. So it's a beautiful location. It's right off the river. And then we got to take our chocolate bars home with us.
I should note that that is a part of the museum. So you have to buy admission to the museum to do that experience. So we kind of did it backwards because I had read a blog ahead of time that said it takes about an hour for it to cool. And we were coming in the last couple of hours it was open. So we rushed through the museum. We didn't actually look at anything. We went straight to making chocolate, and then we kind of did it in the reverse order. So that's probably not what most people do, but we were under a little bit of a time.
So we needed
crunch. And then I didn't know this, but there happens to be a Christmas market right outside of the chocolate museum. So we got to see our first Christmas market.
Christmas museum, our Christmas
market. So Cologne has a lot of Christmas markets. There's 6 official, and I think there's a couple smaller ones. Helene had said there's 8 total, which is incredible. So our first night, we got to experience our first Christmas market. We just wandered around, saw the stalls, and then we headed to bed. Now, my mom had said, I'd really like to do a tour tomorrow on Sundays. So in Europe on Sundays, most things are closed. So I knew we could probably see Christmas markets, but there wasn't going to be much open. So I did a little search and found out there was a theme park about 40 minutes by car, a little bit longer by train, just the metro train, in a city called Brühl. And they have an amusement park called Land. Again, we love theme parks. We have a season pass to Knott's Berry Farm. We've been to Disneyland multiple times. We love a theme park. Like, we just like walking around. We don't necessarily have to go on any of the rides. We just wanted to see shows and see what this was all about. So on Sunday, we went to Phantasialand, and you'd go again. I'd highly recommend it if you're in the area.
Oh yeah, we'd go again.
We would totally go again. And we didn't ride, we should preface, we didn't ride any of the rides. We just walked around for hours. So they have it set up. It's called the Winter Garden, and they have it all set up for Christmas.
They have music piped through, but it is all singing traditional American Christmas songs. We heard O Tannenbaum in English, O Christmas Tree. It was so funny. We got a good chuckle out of that. And it's old Christmas songs and modern pop Christmas songs.
So we were really fascinated by how this park was built. We've been to a lot of theme parks. There is not another theme park that I've seen that is built like this theme park. So I would say if you were trying to compare in your brain, a little bit like Epcot, because it covers different countries. So there's a land that's called Berlin, which is obviously Germany. And then they had Mexico, and they had China, and then they had a fantasy land and a mystery land. The interesting part about this park is that it's not all connected, right? So if you're thinking like a Disneyland or like us, Knott's Berry Farm, things are all kind of connected. It's all on a flat surface. You can walk through things. There's like more of a central hub. It has a circular path to it. This is not like that at all. It's basically built in 3D. So there's 3 layers of the park, and then you have to climb up different layers to access different lands. So just even wandering around and exploring was really fun, really challenging, because even the people who worked there didn't know. And even if they did tell us, I don't think we would understand. Like, it's sort of hard to conceive how to get around.
Well, you may climb up stairs to turn right, to turn back around, to go under the first staircase, to go right angle. It's impossible to read on a map. And so
I'm pretty good at maps. Yeah, I was really struggling.
So they need a 3D map, one that unfolds in 3 levels.
Exactly.
But the fun part is you get to see the roller coasters from the top in all 3 levels as you're walking, because you may be turning as you walk around, and you see these beautiful roller coasters. Nothing like what we've ever seen before.
They're right on top of you. Like you're standing on a walkway that's at the top of a 3-story roller coaster.
At some time.
Yeah.
And you could be at the bottom.
And then you could be at the very bottom
Later.
a second later. Also talk about Africa. So in Africa, they had a really fun, they called it a kids play area, but really we've never seen
sensory walk.
Yeah, we've never seen anything that's like that. Okay, so right, I'm a physical therapist. She's a retired elementary school teacher, so we really like sensory and just it was sort of like a ropes course, but just not as intense. It was like a mild
There
version of
was
a
a
ropes course.
ropes course.
Yeah.
Then there was a climbing course. And then there's a balancing course.
Right.
And
But
then
you get
there's
strapped in other words. Like
then you get to hear things coming.
Yeah.
And you could feel poison darts that aren't poisonous flying at you as you walk through. And
it was
there's
really cool.
sound.
We don't have anything like that in our theme parks. It was so fun. We did the adventurous version and we climbed a very narrow, skinny, twisted staircase up to a slide. It was so fun. We really enjoyed that. They also had a couple of shows. We love seeing shows at theme parks. Tell us your favorite show.
It was called The Golden Thread. And the storyline went with a dressmaker and another person who worked in the shop.
Like a seamstress.
Yeah, they all spoke German. So we're unsure exactly. But this is what they looked like.
Read the translation, but
what really it was about is it just changed. And then it was beautiful dancing. It was like rhythmic gymnastic. And they had all sorts of different moves.
There was a lot of aerial tilts, hoops. It was like
dancing,
circus. I think in America when we see shows, it's a lot more dance based. Where here is a lot more circus based. I think probably because circus is so big in France, it's just more of the culture here. So that was awesome. And then the other show that we went to
was more like an ice rink.
Yeah.
And it was small, but they could put a lot of people and once again, a lot of gymnastics type moves on a small space.
Really good.
Really good. Great background. So you kind of knew where you were the whole time.
And hilariously, all the songs in this show were in English, but they were like,
both of them,
not songs that are popular in America. Like some of the songs, they were in English and I've never heard them. It was very funny. We also really enjoyed at night, they had nighttime shows. So they did a great job of having projection shows. So in Mexico, they had this beautiful projection show that kind of took you through the history of Mexico. I felt like for a small theme park, I felt like they did a fantastic job.
I agree.
We really enjoyed. So that was our Sunday. So today is Monday and we definitely slept in, which was great. Our bodies needed it. And one of the hallmarks of this city is its cathedral. It's huge. I think on our tour, we had a tour today. I think she said it's the 3rd largest church ever built. And it's the largest cathedral. It's
not until somebody built one a few meters higher.
But that was a church. So we're talking about classifications. It doesn't matter. It's massive.
From the Gothic era. Just how
Gothic
make something that beautiful, that large, that long ago.
It started being built in the 1200s. Known for housing the relics, of the 3 wise men. And it used to be a pilgrimage site prior to the 30 Years' War, and then it became dangerous in Germany. But it's been a church that was started being built in the 1200s, which is sort of unfathomable to my American brain. So we got to go inside the cathedral. The funnier thing is that it's colder inside than it is outside. It's so cold in this old cathedral because the ceiling is so tall and it's all glass, and it was wonderful.
Made of sandstone.
Yeah, it's made of very thin stone. So we got to explore the cathedral, and then right outside the cathedral is another market. And so I introduced my mom. She had her first raclette. Now, it's not a German thing. It's more of a French Swiss thing, but raclette is a cheese that is warmed. So generally people have it at home in the winter in France. They have this special machine for raclette. So you put the cheese on the top, you melt it, and then on the bottom you grill your meats and potatoes, and then you pour warm cheese over it. So it's not a fondue. It's its own category.
Grated it, skimmed off the hot cheese off the top.
So what we had is you had this burner, and he would warm the cheese and then, like she said, scrape it off and put it on some bread. What did you think?
It was delicious. For the first time, I would have it a second or third time.
It was so good. And then we had a sausage while we were there. And then we made our way over to the ship, which was the real reason why we came. And we got to meet Helene and Michael, who put this whole thing together. So they are Americans who live abroad, and they both love Christmas markets. And this is their first ever Christmas market cruise that they've put together. So we're so
They're
excited.
doing a great job.
They're doing amazing. So when we got to our room, they had a little present for us. So one of the big things about Christmas markets is each market has their own mug. So each year, the city or whatever, the market, they create their own mug. So what you do is you can get a hot drink, and then if you want to keep your mug, you can, or you can return it and get a little bit of your money back. So what they did is they made us our own mugs that has all the cities that we're going to go visit, which is so wonderful and so sweet. And the year. So we have our souvenir. We have our own Christmas market mug.
And it came with chocolate.
Of course, there was chocolate inside because
who doesn't need chocolate?
You're in Germany.
A mug.
If you don't have chocolate every meal, you're doing it wrong. So tonight we went on a walking tour, learned a lot of the history of the city. It's a Roman city originally. It only became quote unquote German during the Prussian era, which is pretty late in history to become a part of Germany. It was a Roman city for a very long time. We got to then beeline it.
We went quickly to another market. This was the Angel Market.
I think it was our favorite.
And it was beautifully lit. All the little stalls were just gorgeous. They had little ideas of what were inside of them by what was on the outside.
Yeah, they had a little shelf with decoration on top, which is so adorable.
An idea. And since it was Angel Market, I got a little angel to put on my Christmas tree, a glass one that they made. And it's lovely. And we got to enjoy the evening. It wasn't that cold. It had rained earlier. Yeah. And so the temperature was warm and dry by the time we got to the market. And then we walked back to the ship.
And I introduced my mom to, in Germany, they have a special kind of honey that we don't have in America. That's like it's like barely off-white. It's like a white, thick honey. It's my favorite. And I haven't had it since being back in the States. So I got myself some honey from the market by local beekeepers, and they have just amazing sweets and treats. So we'll let you know our favorite things that we've tried at the market. And then back on board our ship, there's one section that is like a restaurant reservation that you can do. Everything's included in our tour, but we had like a nice private dining experience.
Met some new people. Because everybody is so friendly and so happy to talk to other people about where we're from and what we do and why we came and how we found out about this cruise. It's just been a lot of fun meeting new people here on the ship.
Yes. And so we set sail at 10 p.m. tonight, and we will arrive in our next town, our next destination, which is called Koblenz, tomorrow morning at 8:30. We are going to sign off for the night, and we're going to get some beauty rest because we are going to have a wonderful day tomorrow at our first day officially on the cruise. Good night.